one of the issues, I mean, it's all very well to look at a victory that was such a confident victory and say all is well. But it's also good to be able to look at certain numbers critically and say, could we improve in certain areas? Zahir mentioned that, yes, allowing the Sri Lankan batting to get off to starts, they'll address. But what about bowling in the power play? And I think we've put together a few numbers for you, Zahir, and I'll bring you straight into this. Since the 2019 World Cup, it's not been a list that India will want to look at. It's a list you definitely want to be higher up on.
It's actually they were doing very well in that department for sure. If you go back just like say 3 years or 4 years, that number was probably in top 2, top 3 in the world. It's just that since 2019 it has been slipping down, and it's slipped down quite drastically actually. You've seen maybe to do with the fact that Bhuvi was not really playing consistently, and he was someone who used to give that first breakthrough very consistently, very quickly. So Bumrah not really bowling that many overs in the first 10 can also be a factor. Also
he's
not
injured also.
Really.
He's injured also briefly, yeah.
So he's missed few games. So I think those were the factors maybe contributed to that slip in that position with regard to taking that first box, which is the most important box as a bowling unit. You've seen so many times when India was achieving that 2 wickets in that first 10 overs. And then the spinners coming on to bowl, it's a different ball game altogether. It gives the spinners that much more comfort, more cushion to be attacking in that middle phase. When you don't have that wicket, you start off defensive, and then you have to create that opportunity, and then go on the charge, which you've seen in the previous one. Chahal, as soon as he got into the attack, got that wicket, and then things started to fall into place. But if that job is done by the fast bowlers, then it makes it that much easier for spinners to carry on from there. So from that point of view, that box needs a really, really good looking after, and enough emphasis needs to be given to make sure that you be attacking, you be aggressive, you find out ways of picking those early wickets.
So just a quick one from Zach on that new ball bowling itself. We saw Bhuvi got a little bit of swing early on, maybe 1 over, 2 overs, that's it. Deepak Chahar's length was a little shorter, but he's also a swing bowler. The moment there was no swing, they just dropped pace and concentrated on bowling a length and waiting for the batsman to make a mistake. Maybe even started taking pace off very early. What would you do? Ball's not swinging, wicket is placid. You still need to take pitch is placid. Still need to take wickets.
I think you still need to look for that wicket taking option. So if the ball is not swinging, maybe you can use your speed variation up. Rather than taking the pace off, usually works in your favor, because that initial part, your risk to reward ratio has to be more on the risk side. So if you take bigger risk, there are chances that you will be rewarded with a wicket. But if you don't make that call there, if you don't sense the game at that stage, at times it's not often that you're going to see that batters throw away their wicket after setting that platform for themselves. Once you play 20-25 deliveries as a batsman at the highest level, you're expecting that batsman to go on to get that 70-80, that big score, in ODIs, that 100. And a good batter is not going to give you that opportunity. So when you are approaching the game, you often need to think about, there is time when the good batter is batting. How can I approach that situation? So I think it's better to take more risk in the first 10 overs, even if you a little expensive. It's fine because it's new ball. If you get a wicket, you're helping the team achieve that platform.
2 key aspects to the bowling. One, of course, is this power play, and we've talked about the importance of taking wickets. The numbers didn't matter as far as that last match is concerned. The numbers also didn't really matter, Harsha, as far as the result was concerned with the death bowling, because we saw a couple of really expensive overs to finish with, which in this context didn't matter. But the fact is, in a crucial game, it might matter.
So who is going to be what is India's death bowling going to be? I mean, this is ODI cricket. India don't have a World Cup for another 2 years. We'll still have to win matches. So going ahead, what is India's death bowling going to be? Do you stick with Bumrah? Is there a plan B to Bumrah? Chahar has traditionally been used more upfront. We saw Shami bowl a couple of really good death overs in the IPL. So do you expect Shami to come back and bowl at the death? We're all saying this because we want to see how Bhuvi develops. If Bhuvi becomes the bowler that we know he can, with lots more bowling behind him, if he's 100% fit, then I think that issue will get resolved. That's another issue where India used to be pretty good. Maybe just a little dip for Bumrah sometimes. Maybe also India views spinners going into 41, 42, 43 because of the extra fielder allowed outside. That could be a reason. But yeah, I mean, that Sri Lankan team put 70, 80 runs in the last 10 overs. A better team might have taken 90, 95.
Zaid, you expect a little bit of a change in terms of the combination, because it seemed a little experimental with what they were doing with Hardik Pandya, expectedly, particularly at the death. When you expected Deepak Chahar to come and finish his stint, he's picked up wickets, he tossed the ball to Hardik.
Well, in my opinion, I like that experiment. So I think as a player or as a captain, if I'm there on the field, how I would like to approach that kind of a scenario is by having options. And you've seen it with MS also. He used to prefer to have those options because you don't know who's going to have a tough day and who's going to have a really good day. So when you have options, if you waste someone's overs, it's still okay. But if the game has gone that far, and because of the new rules as well, that extra fielder is allowed after 40th over. Usually, if you have wickets in hand, teams tend to start that charge, say around 35th, 37th over, and that is something that changed the dynamic. So you want your main bowlers to close off that situation of the game, and then you have the spinners bowling a couple of overs there. So if you have, say, 3 or 4 options to play around in those last 8 to 10 overs, especially when the wicket's in hand with the opposition, if they're in a strong position, you need those options, because if the two set batters are batting there, it's never easy for a bowler to bowl 3 or 4 overs at the death. So you need that flexibility around there. So I actually like that experiment where you are on one side saying, oh, maybe 1 hour of Deepak Chahar is wasted, or Bhuvi's overs are wasted. It still kind of gave Shikhar as a captain to maneuver his resources and go for someone if someone is having a tough day.